In this video, I'm going to be showing you the perfect fitness morning routine. We're going to be going over all the things you can do in the morning to help you with muscle growth, fat loss, recovery, energy, as well as general health. We're going to go over 8 habits, how to implement each of the habits, and the benefits of implementing them. Just before we get started, my name's Charlie. I'm a bodybuilder, BJJ fighter, level 3 personal trainer, have over 7 years of experience in the fitness industry, and have helped many clients gain muscle, build strength and lose weight. If you're interested in online coaching, just check the link in the description. So the first habit is going to be to do with the time that you wake up at. The time that you wake up at is going to be heavily linked to the time that you went to sleep the night before. So obviously you want to be allowing enough time for sleep during the night, so your wake up time is going to be affected by the time that you do go to sleep. However, you want to make sure that you're sleeping generally enough and that you're dedicating about 7 to 9 hours in general for sleep. However, a bit more importantly, you want to make sure that your sleep time and wake up time is quite consistent throughout the week. So try if you can to get in the habit of waking up at a similar time roughly each night throughout the week. Obviously, it's not going to be in the exact same time, but as long as it's within sort of a half an hour window, that would be perfect. Also, you generally want to avoid using alarms in the morning if you feel that when you wake up, you feel quite tired, as what this probably means is that you're not getting enough sleep during the night, and the alarm is actually limiting how much sleep that you should be getting. So say if you went to bed at 10 and in order to get enough sleep, you needed to wake up at, let's say, 6:30, but you force yourself to wake up at 6 with an alarm. If you do feel tired after you wake up, it probably does mean that you either need to have more sleep or better quality sleep. Whereas when you wake up, if you feel like you've got a lot of energy and you don't really feel like you need to go back to sleep, then your wake up time is fine and you don't need to dedicate any more time to sleep. So the actual specific time that you wake up is going to be an important factor as well. So if you're waking up too late in the morning, what it's going to mean is that your sleep quality is probably going to be reduced. As obviously during the late hours of the morning, there's going to be like noises going off, the sun's probably going to be out, there's going to be distractions that are going to make it hard for you to stay in a deep sleep. So obviously in the time that you're going to wake up, it's going to vary a lot depending on your schedule, but try if you can to wake up between the hours of 6 AM and 8 AM, as that is going to be the best in general for your sleep quality and allowing you to get in that deepest sleep at night and also stay asleep and not be woken up by anything in the early hours of the morning. So I already have a complete guide to sleep. It'll be just linked to that corner there. So if you do feel like you want to go into more detail on this, you can check that out. Also, there is an app that you can use and that may be like a superior alarm to like your normal phone alarm. So obviously your normal phone alarm is going to wake you up at a specific time. It doesn't know like how much you've slept throughout the night or like how sleepy or awake you are in a certain moment. There is an app called Sleep Cycle, which will essentially create like an alarm within sort of like a half-hour window. So you can set it up to wake you up between, let's say, 7 AM or 7:30 AM. And what it will do is it will go by like how awake or asleep you are at certain times within that phase. So if you're moving around a little bit and making a little bit of noise at, let's say, 7:10, the app would detect that and then wake you up in that similar sort of time. Meaning that when you do wake up, you're not going to be waking up in the middle of a deep sleep. Therefore, meaning that when you do wake up, you're going to feel like you have a good amount of energy and that you've slept well also. So that is something that you can consider using the sleep cycle alarm as opposed to the normal alarm. Next habit is going to be to do with hydration. So obviously when you're sleeping, you're going to be going about 7, 8 or even 9 hours without having any water or drinking any liquids, meaning you are going to be dehydrated. So it's important that in the morning you do try and get some water in. Try and get anywhere from about ½ litre to a litre once you've woken up. Obviously it is going to vary person to person and your size, but try and make sure you're getting a good amount of water in the morning to make sure you're getting hydrated. Hydration is also very important for muscle growth. So if you're chronically dehydrated, let's say you wake up dehydrated, you don't really drink much in the morning, and then throughout the day you're not really drinking much at all, it is going to negatively affect your muscle growth, as muscle is just mostly water. So if you don't have enough water available for the process of muscle growth, it is going to inhibit your muscle growth. I mean, you don't gain as much muscle over a certain amount of time. So make sure that you are getting hydrated in the morning. It's also going to help with things like energy in the morning, in your workout performance if you tend to train in the morning, as well as your digestion. So it does have a lot of benefits. To get in the habit of actually drinking that amount of water, you can have a water bottle filled up that's going to be near a place that you'll go to in the morning. So maybe you have it like in the bathroom or in the kitchen or in your room. So that once you wake up, you're going to see the bottle and you can just have it with you and drink that amount of water throughout the morning to make sure that you're getting hydrated and experiencing the benefits of being hydrated once you've woken up. Just before we go on to the next part in the video, I'd like to make you aware of a free opportunity to massively speed up your fitness progress. What it is a free email campaign going on for 31 days. Each day will include a new tip, and it's going to help you with literally everything from muscle growth, fat loss, recovery, getting stronger, improving your sleep, improving your mindset, your motivation, discipline, literally everything you could ask for. Again, it's 100% free. It will be linked in the description, so make sure to check it out. And then third habit is going to be to try and get some sunlight in the morning. So getting sunlight in is going to be beneficial for your general health. However, it's going to be more beneficial if you get it in within sort of the early hours of the morning. So you want to try and get it, if you can, within the first 30 minutes, if not the first 60 minutes from once you've woken up. The reason you want to do this is it will help you fall asleep later on at night, as it will help to set your circadian rhythm. So your circadian rhythm is essentially your body's natural clock that tells you when you should go to sleep and wake up. By getting some sort of sunlight in the morning, it's going to help to set that circadian rhythm and increase your melatonin production throughout the day, and mean that that builds up more, so that when you go to sleep in the evening, your melatonin levels are going to be quite high, and therefore you're going to find it easier to go to sleep. So melatonin is good for sleep. Getting the morning sunlight in will help to set that melatonin production and your circadian rhythm, meaning that at night it's going to be easier for you to fall asleep and get into good quality sleep. So it's going to depend obviously on the weather as well. If it's quite sunny outside, you probably would only need about 5 minutes, whereas if it's cloudy, you're probably going to need up to about 10 minutes, as obviously the sun's UV rays are going to be not coming through as much if it is cloudy. Getting the sunlight in will also help with your vitamin D3 production. So this is going to be produced naturally by your body when it's exposed to sunlight. Vitamin D3 does have a lot of benefits for you. It will improve like your energy. It also has positive effects on your testosterone, so it will help to raise that naturally. And it will also help with muscle contractions, meaning that when you're in the gym and you're working out, your performance is going to be slightly better if your vitamin D3 levels are at their right level. So you're going to be able to lift a bit more weight, do a few more reps if your vitamin D3 levels are high. If you're in an area, or if it's like winter for example, and you're not really getting much sunlight and it's hard to get, you can supplement with this as well if getting the sunlight in is not an option. So I've made sure that you are getting some sort of sunlight in, or you're supplementing with vitamin D3 to help you get the benefits of it. It will also help with bone strength, meaning that your bones are stronger and less likely to get injured when you're training, so that's also another benefit. And then habit 4 is going to be to do with like your breakfast. So this is going to depend based on your goals, whether you do have breakfast like quite early or you have it quite later. In general, if your goal is muscle growth, you want to try and have your breakfast quite soon after you've woken up, and make sure that it has protein in it. So when you eat protein, it's going to stimulate muscle protein synthesis. So this has a few times to occur throughout the day. So if you wanted to focus on muscle growth, you want to make sure that you're getting this in and kickstarting that muscle protein synthesis quite early in the day. If your goal was like losing weight and losing body fat, you may want to try delaying your breakfast slightly and try maybe like intermittent fasting, where you eat like within a certain window. So you maybe going to be having your breakfast a lot later on, and then having a certain amount of time before you go to sleep where you're not eating as well. So it is going to depend on your goals in this habit. But yeah, in general, if your goal is muscle growth, you do want to be having breakfast quite early. If your goal is fat loss, you can still have breakfast early, but you may want to try having it a bit later and try more of like the fasting to help you to restrict your window that you're eating and therefore help you to control your calories. So when you are having your breakfast, we mentioned protein. You want to make sure that you're getting a certain amount of this in to help stimulate muscle protein synthesis. So make sure you're getting at least 20 or 30 grams of protein in within your breakfast. What you can try as well is having more fast digesting protein. And the digestion of proteins is going to vary depending on their source. Things like whey are going to be quite fast digesting, meaning it's going to get into your system quite quickly. Slower digesting proteins like casein are going to digest a little bit slower. So what you can do if you want is to have the fast digesting proteins quite early on when you're having your breakfast, as that will mean that your muscle protein synthesis is going to occur even faster and your body's going to absorb that protein even faster. So it's only going to be a very small benefit, but if you are really focused on muscle growth, you can consider doing that. But yeah, so make sure that you are having your breakfast if you're gaining muscle. If you focus on fat loss, you can have it, or you can try and fasting as well. Also in your breakfast, try and make sure you're getting some sort of carbs in, especially if you're going to be training either late morning or early afternoon. As when you eat carbs, it's going to top up your glycogen stores within your muscles, and therefore meaning that you have more energy when you're actually working out and that you're going to be able to perform better. So as you've slept for quite a while, it's going to mean that your glycogen stores aren't at their maximum level, and they're probably going to be slightly depleted as you haven't eaten carbs in a while. So yeah, if you are going to train fairly early on in the day, make sure you are having some sort of carbs for your breakfast as well to help top up your glycogen stores and improve your energy and performance when you're training. Also, when you are having your breakfast, try and avoid having too high of a sugar content within your breakfast. As we know, this will give you quite a bit of energy sort of in a short term. What it will result in is that after a certain amount of time, your energy levels are going to drop and you're going to feel like a massive dip in energy. You're going to feel quite fatigued. So if you are planning on like training throughout that day, your performance is probably going to be worsened as you won't feel like you have as much energy. So yeah, try and make sure your sugar content is at a moderate level. Try and avoid it being too high for your breakfast. Habit 5 is going to be supplements. So supplements, to be honest, you can have them pretty much any time throughout the day. However, it's good to have them in the mornings as it will help to create a habit of having them on a daily basis. Also, a lot of supplements will be absorbed better if you're having them with some sort of food. So if you're having like omega-3s or multivitamin, the absorption of those from the supplements is going to be better if you're having it with food. So you're going to get more of the benefits from the actual supplement. And also, as we mentioned, it is going to be good at like creating an actual habit. So you can maybe just have it similar to the water bottle, maybe have it in like in the bathroom or in the kitchen or in a place that you'll go to in the morning, so you're reminded of that habit and that you can create it and make it into an actual habit that you do every morning, therefore allowing you to stay more consistent with your supplement use. And habit 6 is going to be to have a cold shower in the morning. So cold showers do have a lot of benefits. They'll help you first of all to improve your discipline. So in pretty much no case is having a cold shower going to be something that you actually want to do. Very rarely is it going to be something that you're actually looking forward to. It's going to be something that when you get to it, you do have that little voice in your head saying, oh, maybe just have it warm, or maybe just don't have the cold shower, just keep it warm the whole time. If you choose to actually make the water cold and actually doing that act of having a cold shower, it is going to be doing something that you don't want to do, and therefore it's going to be increasing your discipline. So already have a complete guide to discipline, again linked in the corner, so check it out if you want. But pretty much any time that you do something that you don't want to do, it'll improve your discipline. So by doing the cold showers in the morning, that will help to improve your discipline, which is going to carry over to things like your training, things like eating the right way as well. So for example, if you're about to work out and you don't really feel like it, you might just choose to maybe skip the workout or do something easier or do something that's not actually on your workout plan. Whereas the more disciplined you are, the more you're going to be able to actually stick with that plan and be consistent with it. So improving your discipline by doing things that are hard like cold showers will have positive effects on your training as well. Cold showers will also help to set your circadian rhythm. So similar to what we said with the sunlight one, certain things you can do throughout the day will help to improve your melatonin production and help to set your circadian rhythm. By having cold showers in the mornings, what it's going to do is obviously your body temperature when you're having a shower is going to be temporarily lowered. However, what's going to happen is that your body's going to compensate for that by increasing your body temperature, and it's actually going to go slightly above your baseline, meaning once you've had a cold shower, once you've warmed up, your body temperature is actually going to be slightly elevated. So your body temperature and your sleep do have quite a strong correlation. So when you're waking up, you want to try and make sure your body temperature is quite high, and then when you're going to sleep, you want to make sure your body temperature is quite low. So actually, it's going to require your body temperature to drop by a few degrees in order for you to actually fall asleep. So pretty much the rule is, in the morning, try and get your body temperature nice and warm to get you awake and help to set your circadian rhythm. And then in the evenings, try and make sure that your body temperature is fairly cool to make falling asleep easier. So you probably would want to avoid doing a cold shower too late in the evenings. As we said, it is going to raise your body temperature, which is going to mean that when you go to sleep, it is going to be quite hard. So cold showers in general are best done in the morning. Cold showers will also help you to be more alert in the mornings and will also help with your circulation as well. So that can be beneficial for your recovery and your energy in the morning. So make sure you're doing them where you can. And then habit 7 is going to be to do with caffeine in the morning. So having caffeine will be very beneficial if you have it before your training. Try and avoid having it too early in the morning. Try and wait about 60 to 90 minutes after you've woken up before you first ingest caffeine. The reason you want to do this is that when your body wakes up, it's going to produce some cortisol, which is going to be like your natural sort of alertness. If you have caffeine too frequently in the morning, you're going to sort of override this and you're going to become dependent on it. So what that's going to mean is that every morning when you wake up, you're going to feel like quite sluggish and you're not really going to be like as alert, and you are going to require the caffeine each morning. And that's also going to result in your energy dipping later on in the day. So best case scenario, wait about 60 to 90 minutes. Try and do it in the order that we've done these habits, doing it more like towards the end after you've done things like your breakfast, the cold shower, and your supplements, for example. And then when you are having caffeine, obviously you want to avoid having it too late as well. So the sweet spot would be sort of like late morning or early afternoon. The general rule in terms of caffeine before you go to sleep is going to be to try and limit it 8 to 10 hours before you actually go to sleep. Say you go to sleep at 12, you want to try and avoid having caffeine after about 2 p.m. So caffeine will be beneficial if you're training as well, later on in the morning or in the early afternoon. So if you have it, obviously you're going to feel more alert and more energized for a few hours. So it's going to be good if you do it before you exercise. It's going to bring us on to our final habit, habit 8, which is going to be to do your training sort of later on in the morning, early afternoon. Again, this is going to be following the order that we've done these habits in. So by this time, it will be like a few hours after you've woken up. So you're going to be looking at sort of closer to midday. The reason that you want to try and train if you can at this sort of time is I'll quickly break down the times throughout the day that you can train, what's going to be good and bad about training at those times. So when you first wake up, you want to try and avoid training like straight away, as obviously we've said, you're going to be quite dehydrated. Your glycogen store is going to be slightly reduced and you may feel like slightly sluggish. So you want to make sure you've done things like drinking enough water, having your breakfast to replenish your glycogen stores and starting up muscle protein synthesis. And also you want to try and have something as well before you're actually training, like some sort of pre-workout or caffeine. Also, you want to avoid training too late in the day, as if you exercise too late at night, it's going to result in your body temperature being elevated, which brings us back to what we spoke about before. If your body temperature is elevated in the evenings, it's going to make it harder for you to fall asleep. So you want to try and avoid training too late in the evenings and at night. Also, in order for your performance to be at its best, you want to have some sort of energy thing, whether that be like caffeine or pre-workout or energy drink before you train. If you're going to be training in like the afternoon or early evenings, let's say maybe like 6 p.m, if you were to have sort of like an energy drink or pre-workout at about 5 p.m, it is going to result in that caffeine still being in your system later on at night, and therefore it's going to make it harder for you to fall asleep and get into deep sleep. You can have like a pre-workout that's stim-free, so it won't contain any caffeine. But what I'd say is the best time would be sort of like in that early afternoon, late morning time, where you've done your morning routine. It's been about 60 or 90 minutes after you've woken up. You've had your caffeine, that's got in your system, and then you train after that. So that'd be like the perfect order if you can. So yeah, try and get in that habit of doing those things leading up, setting your body, and making sure your body's ready for when you're actually going to be training. So let's conclude all 8 habits. So just to recap those, first was the time that you actually wake up. Second was the hydration. Third was that morning sunlight. Fourth was the breakfast. Fifth was supplements. Sixth was cold showers. Seventh was caffeine. And then lastly, the one we just mentioned here about training at the end once you've done all the things right. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to subscribe and like. As I mentioned earlier on in the video, there'll be links in the description to online coaching, as well as that free email campaign I mentioned earlier. So make sure to check both of those out. If you'd like to see 30 recovery tips in just 30 minutes, click the video and it'll be just here. And then I'll see you in the next video. Bye.